Oh great, lost my window. Where's my window? Got it. And I think we're live. G'day, Trapper XP. Seems my stream's not coming through on this end. Oh, there it goes. Yeah, Mike. Alright, I'm really late this evening. It's already 1:30. And unfortunately, there was a few events outside that I had to deal with that sucked up all the time. We seem to have had a cat get in from the outside, climb over the fence, and it caused a whole series of disasters. We actually didn't find the cat, but we know it's certainly come in. So I've had to lock off that area of the yard, and in the morning I'll have to go out there and see if it's still in there, whether it found its way out. Hey Leslie. Alright, I did have 3 jobs, but because of the late hour at this point, I'm going to have to drop it to 2. Let's see. What am I going to do? You're not a very enticing looking sponge. Maybe I can steal yours. Alright, stay. Suppose you're sitting there acceptably. Anyway, sorry. I got my circuit boards that I'd ordered, so now I can actually get down to building them, but first I've got to finish off these jobs. I did these relay boards it's got to be getting close onto a month now, and I've got to finish them off so that I can send them off along with a couple of other boards. Hey, fixing things, been a while. How's things going over on your side of the planet? Oops, yeah, too many parts interleaved here. So alright, I've just got to put these four pin right angle headers on. These will allow the person to connect these relay boards up to their internal USB header. Make sure I get them right. Yep, that should be fine. This is one of the few times this little clamp isn't too bad. For all other times, it's too bad. There we go. Okay, Belgium survived another terror attack. Oh my goodness. When did that one happen? It seems like it's a bit of a, sad to say, a bit of a flavour of the month over there in Europe. Okay, we're going to get some fan noise. I'm sorry, I might be able to turn it back a little bit. There we go. Hey Marway. G'day Sanaka. So this part of the job's going to be pretty damn quick, and I'm going to have to move the fan right in on this. The only downside is when I have it on a lower voltage, it doesn't suck so well. It simultaneously sucks more and less at the same time. Better do that ground pin a bit better. I was very surprised how quickly these boards were shipped, because I only received notice that they'd been finished on I think it was Tuesday, and they arrived today, Thursday, and that's from China. That was using TNT Express. Not that it means anything. For all I know, next time I do it, it'll probably take 3 weeks. Hey Edge. Today, first off, I'm just finishing off a job from the other week, and then because I've been forgetting to do this one, as well as the fact that I received circuit boards today, of which one of them is another job that has to go to the same person. I'll see how I'm feeling after I do my first board, which is the USB discharge board. Oh man, just stick it there, Paul. Just stick it there. Sorry I can't give you close-ups on this. Just a case of, we'll get there eventually. Maybe I can move the camera. Just let me see what I can do. Let's finish up these. You've already done that one, Paul. Because I know you can't see much from that camera angle, so I'll put it up on the bench here. Alright, that's those 3 done. Now I can actually sleep at night. And let's see if we can move this camera. Yeah, work's not too bad fixing things. Not too bad. Could be better. I do have a large job happening tomorrow. It's going to be I'll just turn that off for the moment. The job tomorrow is going to be a fun one. It's where I'm converting some ludicrous 4 by 128 megabyte SATA RAID 1 configuration into what it should have been, which is a 2 by 500 RAID 1 configuration. Okay, the camera is going to go a bit crazy here, so bear with me. What are you doing looking at me for? Alright. And I'm going to use blue tack to make sure the damn thing doesn't fall off the shelf. Come on, I need you over by a bit. Like that. And then tilt it down. Alright. Hey Metaman. Hey Chuck G. High five. Okay. Still a little bit off center, but we'll see how we go, shall we? Alright. Okay, so a few of you may have recalled from the other week I did the battery normalizer, so it would drop the voltage down to 3.75, 3.8 or whatever on the iPhone batteries. So after doing that, I thought, well, I've got the those charger boards for the iPhones that most of us are buying, and they all have a USB port on the side of them. So I thought I'll design a board for single cell that will plug into that. And what have I got? My focus is off, that's why. Sorry, just change that. Okay. Alright. Can we get that? It's a crazy camera that doesn't like to focus on anything but human hands. But not blue ones. Ah, screw it. Anyway, so I made up the single circuit board, had them produced, and now I'm going to see if we can get it to work. So, and I've lost my chat. There it is. Professional setup? Yeah, certainly not. Okay, Philip C. Why not get another one of those stands, take the legs off and fix the adjustable... I'm not quite sure. You could always flip the video. Yeah, we don't want any raisin batteries here. Duratool PCB holder would last stream. Oh, okay. How does that work out? Ah, g'day Chris. Hey Stephen. Oh, this looks like we've got a party here and I'm pretty much passing out. Alright, so I'm gonna get started with that. Chris, by the way, with the iPhone charger discharger thing, I have yet again gone and changed things around a bit, and I'm going to try and see if I can make the board so it actually has all the iPhone battery sockets built on, so there'll be no daughter board requirement. It'll just be all there in one hit. Chris Wong. Yeah. No flux given, apparently. Alright, now I'll show you the... Let's see. Let's get over here. Alright, so this is the layout. You don't really need to see of it. Pardon me. And a few of you will probably recognise that it's 1/3 of the entire board that we had before. So hopefully it all works. I guess we'll find out. Alrighty. What part am I going to start with first? I even bought actual USB sockets for it. Getting fancy. Getting seriously fancy. Knew I needed the diodes for a reason. God damn it. Oh well. Alright, fans on. Where the hell are my tweezers? Where are my tweezers? Alright, get our tube of freshly squeezed Lewis Rossmann, and we're just going to blast that all over this board. Should pretty much get every little bit of solder there. AM scope are out of NTP scope. Lead time is 2 to 3 weeks. Oh well, they'll probably that'll align with my needs anyway. It's going to be at least 4 weeks before I can even look at ordering it. But thanks for letting me know. Okay, you've done your job. I don't know if I can zoom in anymore on this. You'll have to tell me if the quality goes to crap. That's about as far as I can push it. As soon as the Aussie gets done, alright. Looks like the pressure's on. I don't know how pixelated my thingamajig's going to be now. 470. Well, to be fair, I am kind of pushing into the time zone that Chris normally would be doing his work. Like I said, just got caught out with the drama of the evening. Ah, that's right, I've got two 470s on this board. Sure hope this works. Otherwise there'll be a whole $9 wasted. Not to mention the actual freight and everything else. Oh well. You gotta try these things. Sometimes you win, sometimes you don't. As far as I can tell, it should work. I think I need to buy a whole new batch of these holding containers. These ones are getting a bit old, and I can feel some of them are getting a little bit close to shattering their little levers that you use to open them up. I don't have the proper load resistors that I want. I ordered 1.8 ohm resistors and I need 5 of them in the chain. I don't have any of those. Instead, all I've got are 4.7s and 100 milliohms. So I'm going to put them on anyway. The downside is going to be that the thermal balance is going to be all wrong. That is to say, those two 4.7s are going to dissipate the most heat, and the 100 milliohm ones are going to dissipate very little, but it's still well within the maximum capacity of the resistors anyway, so it's not a big issue. That's you're done. Time for the fun one, which is the LED. And I always forget which green 1206 lows. Why not? So Chris, you're going to blow stuff up again tonight? I see Lewis seems to be up to some sort of destructive process right now. I saw him on Twitter talking about pushing screens to their destructive point out of the grommets and drowning his Lenovo laptop. So I don't know what we're going to get out of there. Kind of wondering whether he's decided to go for the tech rack style. Maybe it's to teach the imager, or however the hell you're supposed to pronounce it, people a lesson. I don't know how. Maybe he's just trying to capitalize on the popularity that they're going to bring. No, I can't blame him for that. I'd do it. By the way, I really can't quite see what I'm soldering. Oh, sorry. ABS question. Scroll up. Blimey heck, long way to scroll up. What? Is there a way on OBS to make a bounding box for the crop part, or do we have to use the stupid values? I'm not sure. I haven't done enough yet with OBS. Where's the schematic for this board? I'll show the schematic a little bit later once I've finished doing all this. Go, Amy. I'm going to have to look at this close with the microscope later. Alright, time to put in my load resistors. See, I must have had a project at some point that I thought I was going to use 4.7 ohm resistors. Look at this. This is basically an unopened bag of 500 2512 4.7 ohm resistors. I'll be long dead before I probably use all these. Look, I haven't even taken the first one out. It's a good thing there's no date on these. Otherwise I'd probably find out it's sitting there for 8-9 years. I do like handling 2512 resistors. They're so much fun because they're just like massive surface mount things. They're so big you can actually care about whether you get their writing in the right way, orientation. How'd you crop out the chat window then? I didn't. All I've done there is you can add, let me see if I can show this. Okay. This is going to make it go all wonky, but you know how it goes. Alrighty. God damn it. I can't. If you go into add your source and window capture, and then you can pick, it'll give you an option of which window you want to pick. So it's not actually cropped, it's just I happen to magically balance it. Hey Castle. Alright Stephen, enjoy your sleep. God knows I want some. But work says I mustn't. I can sleep when I'm dead. I'm going to cheat here. It's not going to make any difference how many of these 10, I don't know what these are. 101, they better not be 100 ohms. I suppose I should get the multimeter. .101 initially to me would say 100 ohms, but it could be milliohms. And it's 100 ohms. Why the hell have I got a 100 ohm 2512 resistor? That makes no sense. No sense at all. What was I going to do? Put 50 kilovolts through it or something? Alright, let's have a look at what else we got. 6 ohm, 8, no, no, no. I'm running low. 100 milliohms. Hey Greg M. General question to all those out there. I've got a machine here that it's running open board. Oh, not open. What the flip am I talking about? It's running LibreOffice, and the person has a spreadsheet file about 20 megabytes, and that thing takes about 5 minutes to load, and it's not the machine, because I put it on my Linux workstation, and the same thing takes about 5 minutes to load. So I don't know what the hell's going on with that. And I've done things like allocate more cache and all that sort of stuff to no avail. So it's starting to tick me off. I think it's a bad case of the person has used a spreadsheet for what they probably should have used a database or an actual program for. That's not going to work. I'm going to have to bring down my magnifying glass, I'm sorry. Put the socket in. What? What the hell's going on there? Oh, come on. Come on. Melt, you mofo. Oh my goodness. That looks pretty acceptable. If it would only focus. Let me have a try manual override and wind it in. Wind it in, Paul. Wind it in. You're not winding in. Ah. There we go. And back to auto. Oh, that's right, I need to do my little cheat. So with having all the resistors here, I've also got two more that are supposed to be here. But instead of adding in these 100 milliohm ones, I'm just going to bridge the two up there and they'll be fine. Now the question is, do I use a big whopping great big fat blob of solder or just a 0 ohm resistor? I think I'll use a 1206 0 ohm. Where's my 1206s? There we go. 1206. Now we can get away with using a 1206 rather than anything bigger because of the fact that it's basically not going to be dropping any voltage across it because it's 0 ohms. We're close enough to it. So it's not really going to build up any heat. Kind of got that one a bit close there. Alright. Well, in theory, this kind of should work. Let me go get the iPhone board. Oh, goddamn chair dropped down on me. Alright. So we have autofocus running like a lunatic. So this is going to be either a pop test or a success test. Anyone want to put bets on it? Oh, and it works. But the resistor values need adjusting. It's cutting off too high at the moment, so I need... Amy, what are you gagging about? Let me guess facts. Sorry, I haven't been checking the chat much. Might be a memory issue, need bags of RAM for opening a file that size. Well, Leslie, I committed half a gig to it and it still does it, so I'm not sure what's going on. Yeah, it could be the macros, it could be so many things. Do you feel having a USB directly connected to the PCB and the battery hanging off will stress the USB joint? No, not in this case. Because now that you've seen it, yeah, okay, now that you've seen it, you know why. Alright. Alright, I am going to quickly check to remind myself as to what value I need to be changing. I always forget. It's a crazy thing, it's your own design and you still forget. Okay, I'm going to switch over to desktop only, so therefore you can now see the schematic. Oh, for goodness sake, now what? No, we don't want that. Anyway, so I want a bigger push to to force this to stay open for longer, so I either need a bigger value here. I've got 330, maybe I should push it to 390, or reduce this one. Bum, bum, bum. Choices. I'll push that to 390. Didn't go boom, I'm sorry. Well, that's weird, it's stabilized. Probably because it's getting hot. Ah! Yep, it's getting hot. That's why I need all 5 resistors there. But I'm still going to make that a 390. Fan on. Maybe I'll do this hot air. I have no hot air. Alright, let's not play it. I'll do it using the soldering iron tip. I did find it amusing when Lewis was given the tutorial on how to replace parts even if you don't have a hot air. And I thought, that's the way I've been having to do it the whole flippin' time. Like if you want to change a fuse or whatever and you don't have hot air. It's just always interesting when you come in from the other side, so to speak. And as usual, I'm just doing this by feel because I can't really see it properly. Okay. So let's see, fixing things. This is like the Fatava one where we'll bring it down. Yeah, that's right, fixing things. Except Fatava actually took it from me. Okay, no, they probably didn't, but it's something I did a long time ago. We're at 3.8 and it's holding steady, so I guess we'll see how this goes. This whole board really needs to be hot aired. And that. Yeah, I'll even turn it around for you guys. There you go. Alright, now I can look at chat. Seems yeah, Leslie, that in that I'm going to guess that's the one in the options, and they tell you to push it up to 20 megabyte per object and 200 megabyte overall, stuff like that. I have pushed mine up to 512 megs and 30 megs per object. It's very much the same thing. I mean, maybe I'll try 100 meg per object. Who knows? Need the light. The light needs to strobe faster so we can have a ray. That reminds me, I finally, after about 3 months, got my high voltage capacitors, which I'm going to put into my magnifying lamp, and that should help reduce the flickering that I experience. I don't know if you guys ever see it, but when I put the hot air station on, things like that, then this lamp just flickers like a rave party. And I know it's really the fault of the hot air station, but it's only the lamp that shows the symptoms. And to be fair, the lamp is pretty shoddy anyway, so it's easy for me to just put a big cap in the lamp and be happy. Hey Scott. Got someone that came with a laptop hard drive and external drive. Seems he knocked off the Oh dear God. Yeah, good luck with that, Greg. I have a horrible feeling that if it was running while it got dropped, then you're pretty much up the creek without a paddle. If you use DD Rescue on that, you may have some success, but you may have to get a little bit manipulative with how you pull the data off there. You might have to try and find, like if it's crashed one head into the platter, you may be able to try and sneak the data off the other platters by making it jump whenever it encounters an error. Yeah, it's all part of the fun and games. If the macros are written efficiently, anything you do will be minor. Yeah, I have a horrible feeling that this is actually a very poorly written spreadsheet. Like I said, it really feels like something that should have been done as a database, not as a spreadsheet. There was never a shortage of those sort of things happening, like back in the days of Lotus 123 and WordPerfect 5.1 and DBase 3, where people would stay with, like usually was they would stay with Lotus 123 and turn it into a database when they should have moved over to DBase 3. Yeah, he only wants data, that's fair enough. Well, good luck with that now. Edge says, Paul, is this set up to diagnose the health of a battery? It is one part of a bit of a general thing I'm doing. I do have a large circuit board, not as big as this, but I do have one I'm working on that will do charge, discharge, coulomb counting or milliamp hour counting, data logging, everything basically, so that you should be able to plug a battery in, let it run its cycle, do a discharge, charge, discharge type cycle, or the other way around if you like, and at the end of it you should get a graph showing you the overall efficiency of the battery. And typically if it's a dud battery, you'll tend to have a great big discrepancy between how much you put in and how much you got out. To be fair, it's already been done 1,000 times, like for model aircraft batteries we already have that, but I'm going to make it so that it's more for iPhone batteries. And I was about to submit it, but at the last minute I decided I was going to put all these connectors, well you only need one side, put all the connectors on the board as well, so it was effectively a turnkey type solution where you just plug it in and go. Hey Bobby. Yeah, those hard drive floating gravity drop type solutions. Good luck with that being actually useful on that. I mean, I hope it has it, but I'd say you probably didn't. But you never know, you might get lucky. They might have run out of their stock of cheap drives and they decided to put an expensive one in. I'm probably, let me have a look at this other board that I've got to do. I'm going to just put this off to the side. I might zoom out. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Come on back. Come on back. Tunk. There we go. Good old horrible digital zoom. I should get a 4K one, and then that'd be easy. I'm just going to put this off to the side somewhere. If it starts cutting out, I'll let you know. Okay, what this board is, it's for a solar panel installation, and it allows the person, you put this in series with the power leads coming out, and it will let you log the volts and amps through I2C to like a Raspberry Pi in this case. Anyone who knows Lady Ada, you'll probably have seen a very similar board on her site. It uses the same chip, which is is, whoops, INA, what is it? INA 219 Texas Instrument chip. It's a neat little chip. As I say, it gives you volts and amps off the same chip, all in one, so you don't need to have two sensors, which is great. Well, let's have a shot at this. I'm probably going to completely bugger it up, but I've got 10 boards. Weeks go home, you're drunk. Hey, hi. So push the zoom in a bit more. There we go. Now I've actually got to go and look at for this board because I cannot remember the values off the top of my head. I know where some things are, but that's about not all. Well, the first thing I'm going to put on there is the actual chip itself, the main one that we care about, which is the INA. It's this one. And I have to find something to cut this open with. Be sure not to lose these things. I've only got 3 of them. They're a bit expensive. Funnily enough, I can buy these boards, very similar boards, direct from China for about $2.90 or something like that. But to buy the chip itself cost me about $3.10. So it's always a bit of a downer when you see your parts cost more than the finished product. Well, this definitely needs hot air to do it right. Yeah, Amy, it's solar logger. Now, let me just... sorry, folks. Glorified crotch shots. As I try to plug in my hot air without knowing the exact orientation of the socket. This is worse than trying to plug in USB sockets in the back of a computer. Aha, I got it. All hail the hot air, master of us all. Alright. Yeah, now you're not going to be able to see much. Already working on that. So Chris, is that I'm taking the GPU thing isn't yet fully functional. Alright, I need my magnifying. That battery discharge is still sitting on 373 at the moment. you realise there's going to be a bit of a bounce back once it turns off. You got to be careful with these two-sided boards with the hot air, because quite often that solder will stay fluid for quite a considerable amount of time after you have taken it away, the hot air. A lot of it's to do with the fact also in a lot of my boards I've got a large ground plane on the other side just as a flood fill, and so that retains a lot of the heat. Mind you, I mean the fiberglass keeps pretty hot too. These are 5 milliohm shunts, which means that the rated 16 amp capacity of the solar panel, I'm only using around about 1/3 of the range of the sensor. That's a little wonky. Now the reason why I'm only using about 1/3 of the sensor possible range is because I don't want to be wasting power of the solar panel, just burning it off as heat after you've gone all to the effort of generating it. Come on, that's it. And it's not, in this case, we're not, what am I trying to say? We're not trying to be super critical with our measurements. We're only really caring just to get an idea of what, a rough idea. For the most part, it's more of a remote diagnostics thing. We want to be able to sort of look at the statistics and go, oh, something's wrong with the panel, or something's wrong with the charging, or the battery. And then you sort of schedule to make a trip out, a trip to go and fix it. And using this you can make that diagnosis or that choice without having to physically drive out to the site. Here we go again, doing it blind. I'm basically doing this by nub feel. That is to say, I feel for the nub that I've left there with the soldering iron blob, and then I know that I can bring the part in to match that. But that doesn't work so well when you're working on iPhones, because iPhone is just a nub. The whole thing is a nub. What I would consider to be a nub on this sort of scale would be probably half the Mason chip. Started a CRGS solar panel factory in China. Ooh. What does, my apologies for sounding dumb, but what does CRGS stand for? So some people think I'm stubborn and I won't accept that I don't know everything. But that's only of the things I don't know. Where's my shockety diode? Where are you, shocketies? Hey Rave! Haven't seen you for a few, well, almost a week now. Hope you're alright. God damn it. Why am I always out of the ones that I want? Oh well. Useless little 1 in 418s it is. Get off my finger. Now the trouble with this build is I actually cannot demonstrate to you if it works or not. Because even though the chip here does make life a lot easier because it does the current and the voltage at the same time, you have to still read the software, get the data, translate it, all sorts of things first. Oh man, what sort of idiot am I? I used an 0603 LED and I used an 0402 load resistor for the LED, dropper resistor. That was real smart, Paul. Real smart. I think I figured I wouldn't be putting it on the final product. It was only for diagnostic purposes. So I thought it would be fine if I just leave it as 0402 and 06 stuff. For any of you that do iPhone and Mac repairs, electronics repairs like this, you would find working with this stuff so much fun because it's so big. Yeah, it's no balls to rebull, no tiny pieces of tiny components that you can't tell if they're dust or components. It's all just monster sized stuff. It's like playing with Duplo instead of Lego. You've been streaming too early for me. I don't get up till 9 AM mountain time. Oh yeah, well I've been saying the same thing to Lewis and Jessa a bit lately. The trouble is if I stay up too late here, then I don't really get up early enough to watch their streams. So someone has to make a compromise somewhere. Oh, wrong way around. It's a thin film solar panel and flexible. Oh, okay. Yep. Market numbers are 12% efficient, lab numbers 18% efficient. Okay, so it's, yeah, I know the sort you. Are they different to the amorphic ones? Sorry if I didn't say that right. I'm finding my voice is just a little bit choky up here now. So, do I have a 0603? Yeah, you can be naughty and you can jam a 0805 onto the pads of an 0603. But I don't think I will. I'll put these terminal blocks on. It's going to be interesting to see how this holds up, because there's going to be up to 16 amps of power going through this. It's quite a lot for a small circuit board like this. I mean, it's not massive. I mean, I used to make 25 amp speed controllers with this sort of level. Ah, sweet Bridget, that's still flippin' hot. I'm starting to behave like Electro Boom. I'm just holding these the solder to these terminals a bit longer so that it wicks through the via, or through the through hole, and comes up and then flows in on the other side, because of the circuit board, that's where the shunt's going to come on, and I don't want the plating in the via to take all the current, because it just won't. It'll just fry off probably. So it's going to be a real test to see if that happens properly or not. Fortunately, this is a prototype, so if I find that it's not coping, that's not a big problem. That's why we have prototypes. And if it's not coping, I'll just push up to the next size of terminal block and find a way of, or change where I put the shunt so that I can make sure that I guaranteed to solder it. Alright, this is starting to go into flash mode. So, and it's sitting on 3.8, 3.77, so you can see it jumping up and down. So that's pretty much perfect. That's exactly where I want it. Rave, I'm still actually waiting for that money to turn up, would you believe? Yeah, fun and games. The reason why it's taken so long... Sorry, I'm just going to get my napkins here. And we don't need that anymore. And you can turn off. The reason why it is taking so long is that YouTube consolidates the prior month of income at about the 15th of the next month. And what happened with what happened with all the donations is that they happened around about the 1st and the 2nd of June. So they will not get consolidated into the account until the 15th or so of July. And then that doesn't get paid out into my bank account here in Australia until around about the 22nd. So around about 4 weeks from now, that will be when I finally do see the money from, like, pretty much almost 6 weeks prior. So yeah, if you wouldn't want to be starving or anything, because you'd be dead. But yeah, I'm still absolutely more than happy about how things have worked out, and I will be getting the microscope. It's just a case of needing to be a little bit more patient. That is where the PayPal options, like if you go PayPal Me, there's an actual sort of like a donation system they now have called PayPal Me. That's where that's really effective, because not only do you only lose about 2.4% rather than, I think it's around about 20% with YouTube, you get it straight away. But of course, if you want to remain anonymous, that's a little harder through the PayPal system. So, yeah. When I say anonymous, I mean relative to the person you're donating to, because people who donate money don't always want those who they've donated to know who they are. I personally don't blame them one bit. Other panels are usually silicon based, and the crystals have to be grown with SIDS. The chemical, oh right, okay, yeah, rolled and okay, deposition. Whoop, where's that? Where'd my mouse go? There it is. I did Stray 77. Ah, there you are. Rehotted a GPU on an Acer 5552 last night, resurrected. It felt like I was doing something tomorrow. Yeah, well, I guess you'll see in a couple of weeks whether it persists or not. That's they should have just paid PayPal. You know, 30%. Well, I mean, yeah, it was sort of. There have been quite a few PayPal donations, I will say that, and they have been very helpful too. I think once you're up and running, things like the YouTube Super Chat are still very useful. I can see. I should say, even from a recipient, I don't have a big problem with the YouTube 20 or 30%, whatever it is that they take out. I understand. I mean, as Lewis has said, you are getting free hosting, free. They're providing the whole environment for you. So that's fair enough that they take a cut. Whether you think that's too much or too little, I suppose, is certainly a matter of opinion. But not like you got too many other choices, viable ones anyway. I know I'm committing a sin by repeating the question, but why is the microscope under the... that's a mistake, that's why. Okay, mother flip, that's flippin' hot. Goodness. Why didn't someone tell me that load burning resistors would get hot? I mean, really? Who would have thought? I definitely have to get the heat under control, because with transistor BJTs, they do have a runaway process beyond a certain point, and it can prevent them from turning off, which is kind of hilarious. Whereas MOSFETs don't have that problem. You'll find in a few amplifier designs and things like that you'll see people trying pretty hard to fight against the positive temperature coefficient that some BJT transistors suffer, or all of them do. Thermal runaway. It's pretty hilarious when it does happen and it's not your equipment that it's happening to. Not so much fun when it isn't, when it is your equipment. Alright, it probably shouldn't really turn on. Yeah, I didn't think it would turn on. Stick RAM heat sinks on them. That's a good idea. That'll be the bling bling version. Am I supposed to throw out my expensive microscope after 100 jobs? Absolutely. I have a recycling department here. I started trying a hand at finding iPhone board view files. They're all in PCB. Yeah, if someone what was I going to say? If someone can be naughty and convert the PCB files into the ASC version, the ASCII version of pads, it will produce things like nail, outline, parts.asc files. It will produce like 5 or 6 of them, and you put them into a folder, and OBV, Open Board View, will read those. So we just need someone out there who has a license of the software that will read the PCB files, the binary ones, and then if they can export them into the ASCII format, then so many problems will be solved. But yeah, Rave, the big problem we have right now, I mean, I would like to be able to read the binary format directly in Open Board View, and we've been trying for quite a while, but we need that file format specification. It's something from Ubisoft probably, or pads, whatever. Without that specification, it is one format that is probably going to take a little bit too much effort and time and money. I was working out the other day, I think I've sunk effectively around somewhere between $5,000 and $10,000 into developing Open Board View through work not gained, loss of productivity, things like that. I mean, that was a personal choice. I made that choice, I don't regret that choice, but it does show up on the financials quite noticeably when I do a graph of the income and stuff like that. I can see around about May, July last year, it just sort of takes a dive, and that's when I started working on Open Board View. Oh, thank you, Amy. I'm ready for my NTP, where you look at what? I'm ready for my NTP. What's NTP? Customs want 250. What? We shouldn't have to pay any import duties on ours at the moment. That $1,000 limit doesn't kick in, doesn't get kicked out until 12 months time. So until then, Jerry Harvey from Harvey Norman's going to have to keep screaming loud and clear, and no one's going to care. My God, my desk is a mess already. I think I'm getting a little bit dizzy from the isopropylene fumes. I should just vent this out to the outside. The environment can take another hit. Sure it can, it'll take it. Not really. Next week I have to go down, take a drive down to the big city, which is about 130, 140 kilometers away. And when I go down there, hopefully I'll get my improved ventilation system. And my workbenches should arrive probably next week. Fingers crossed. And it's a pair of 2400 by 600 white laminate tops. They are going to be very heavy. I've got similar bench tops in my kitchen, though they're a prettier looking thing. They're granite, and they're not even that big, and they were already a major struggle for me to get in here. I need someone who can bench a couple of £100, and yeah, they can lift them for me. I'll give this a test tomorrow. I'm going to have to write up some software that will read the I2C data out of that chip. Whoops. Yeah, why not? Just short out the battery, whatever. This battery came from a phone that had Coke through it. Amazingly, it lived long enough for me to get the data off. That was pretty funny. Sorry, Mike. Yes, customers. Can't live with them, can't live without them. Yeah, you really do want them though, don't you? Otherwise you go broke. No one wants to be broke. Oops. So what have we got? 2:30 in the morning. I'm definitely well over my bedtime. Okay, so we did our load normalizer board, we did our 3 relay boards that we did the other week, and we did our solar sensor board. That's good enough for tonight, I think. And I'll have to see what I can do about that LibreOffice problem. I'm not sure what to suggest to the customer. I mean, it's got a ridiculous number of pages and sheets and cells in it, so I think it's very much a case of it's pushed too far beyond what you really should do with a spreadsheet. Yeah, Stray77, I have cursed, well, yeah, I've said that exact sort of thing to Chris Long, because he said, here, use acetone for this. He wasn't telling me, he was just talking in general. And yeah, acetone just knocks me flat. So I used it again just to see, and it was just way too much for me. And of course it ruined the iPhone 5C. Well, that reminds me, I got my first ever iPhone SE today, and I'm amazed how similar they are to the 5. Though I did notice that the charge port is different. So yeah, the person had no home button activity. Like I tried a different flex for the home button because it's the same as the 5 as far as I understand, the 5S. No activity there. Even with the original one, it comes up and says Touch ID cannot be detected or whatever, not available. So I was going to try a different charge dock flex, but unfortunately that's when I found out that the SE does seem to have a opposite gender flex connector compared to the 5S, which doesn't surprise me. How many rows does the spreadsheet have? I don't know, but it's got something like 27,000 pages and 3.4 million cells. What percentage of alcohol are people using for electronics cleaning? I can get 90% below chemist, but 99 online. I use 2. In my blue containers, I've got 99.99, and in a pink containers, I've got about a 90, 75 to 90, whatever I choose for the day. All I've done is I take the 99 and I pour a certain proportion of distilled water into it. I find that Sancorda of CA, California maybe. Yeah, I just dilute it down with distilled water, because I do find there are some things that will not come off with alcohol alone, particularly if it's human dirt sort of thing, like if you're trying to clean off a laptop screen or keyboard, whatever. Pure alcohol will not dislodge it very well, but you add about 5-10% of water, distilled water, and it will come off a lot easier. SE, i7, i7 Plus use the same connector. But for the dock connector, Chris, I'm guessing you mean? Yeah, it was great to see my first SE. I've been recommending the SE to a lot of people who their 5s have died or their 4s have died and they want to go for something else, so I just tell them get the SE. And as far as I know, Apple is still producing the SE, so at least when they do buy them, they are getting new ones as opposed to god-awful hack job rebirth machines. I had a rebirth one in today. It was a con job, so to speak. The person was told that it was a Apple factory refurbished, but believe me, it wasn't. Even the chassis itself, the bathtub, was not an original Apple, because if you get the original Apple ones, you know, they've been machined out, whereas this one was just a cast press and spray painted on the inside. I'm amazed it worked, but it did. But yeah, and that was a 6S. Oh, the battery connector, yeah. The dock, yeah, flip the FPC, yeah, okay. Alright, no, well, I'm glad you told me that, Chris, because at least, you know, that confirms what I found today, and I'm glad to see that I wasn't losing my mind. Always good to confirm. Alright, okay, I'm packing up. thank you all for jumping in, saying hello. And like I said, we're just scratching off the days until that microscope turns up, and then everything should hopefully change for the better. In the meantime, Chris Long is going to zoom right past me and leave me in his dust, but that's the way life goes on YouTube. What the heck is a normalizer? It's just a normal thing. I call it a normalizer. I don't know what other people want to call it, but what it does is it reduces the battery voltage on lithium packs down to a safe level for storage, which is around about 2.7 to 2.85, around that area. It's yeah, somewhere in the middle, and that's what this thing does. So all it is just a voltage controlled resistive load. So you plug it in to this and it drops the voltage down, and then when the voltage is at the right level or near enough, it'll turn off, and that's it, on your way. So it's a safety device, really. Yeah, I'll be jealous as well when I get it, just for the fact that I finally got it. Or rather, I should say my wife's probably going to be jealous. She'll be like, "You don't spend any time out here anymore. You're always into that microscope." I was like, "Oh well." Makes it more normal. Okay. Alright. Anyway, thank you all. I'll catch up with you next time, and I'm going to go get myself some breakfast cereal just before I go to sleep. And maybe Chris will now turn on his live stream and we can all be entertained there. So, over to you. I'll see you next time.